Check out these bumblebee fingerless mitts. Aren't they adorable? They go right alongside these fingerless mitts. These are my chic fingerless mitts with this little zigzaggy pattern. So now you can get them in a youth size and also small to large. So stick around in this video and I'm going to show you how to make them. Welcome to GoodKnit Kisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches. So for this pattern, we are going to cover the instructions at the same time for both the knitting loom and for the knitting needles. Now, don't let these DPNs or double pointed needles make you a little bit scared, okay? I'm also going to cover instructions for if you want to use circular needles to make it easier on you, so have no fear. We're going to go over several sizes. Look at all these sizes. So I'm going to show you how to make those changes. I'm going to show you how to measure. I'm also going to show you the technique on the circular needles. So be sure and get your pattern ready because we will go over the instructions. I'll keep this video as brief as possible. You're going to get a little bit more information in this video as far as some across the gamut of measuring and things, and also the difference in the youth size. I'll catch you in a moment and get your patterns first and we'll move on. See you soon. To make these fingerless mitts, you're going to want to pick either needles or the knitting loom and click on the link in the description to get the pattern, of course. And the main thing is you want to make sure you get the right sizing. So I'm going to go over the sizes real quick. The youth size is actually just a hair shorter than the small. So if you put these side by side, you can see that this one's just a little bit shorter. What that does is, let me demonstrate on my own hand. This is the large one. When I put this on, it goes to the end of my knuckles here. Now, if I was to put this on, say, a child of 6 or 7, maybe even 5, in the small size, it would be to here on them. It would actually be quite long, and this little thumb section here would be too long. So the only difference is we've made this little section right here at the mitt top smaller. So the written directions for the Bumblebee Youth Fingerless Mitts will reflect that. The small will be reflected in the Chic Fingerless Mitts. So you either use the needle or the loom directions. All right, so I'm just going to kind of go over the pattern, and the differences are very little. So if you want to get the video to be able to make your mitts on either needle or loom, I've got those video links down below, and so you can click on those, and there's also a link if you do download the PDF, but you can find this also on the website. The materials are the same. It's a medium 4-weight yarn. The needles are US size 7 double pointed needles. I'll show you how to use the circular, and then the loom is the other option for loom knits. So on the needles, you're going to need a US size 7 needle or 4.5 millimeter double pointed needles, or you can use circular needles, and then the length of the cord doesn't matter. You need at least 16 inches, but you can use a longer cord if necessary. If you use the double pointed needles, you're going to need 4 of them. If you're using the loom, you're going to need a small gauge loom where the center peg to center peg spacing is 3/8. If you use a different size on the needles, then know that you need a multiple of 4 in the round in order to change the sizes up or down and get your stitch pattern right. For the ribbing and for the main stitch pattern, you need a multiple of 2. So if you change it to a 1x1 ribbing instead of a 2x2, so this is a knit 2, purl 2 type ribbing. If you want to go to a knit 1, purl 1 all the way around, then you just need a multiple of 2 for your loom or for your needles. Okay, and then of course we've got our abbreviations. The gauge is actually the same on both of these. It's 4 stitches per inch in the in all the patterns. Now the only difference is the loom one is just a hair tighter. It's technically measured at 4 stitches per inch this way, but the loom makes it work a little bit more snug, and it's still the same size though. On the next page, you can see what skill level it is. It's easy. On this one, of course, it's the youth. And then we have our measurements. Now, this first number here is the circumference around the hand. And then the second one is that length that we talked about. So it's about a 1/2 inch longer on the small versus the youth size. And so let's go ahead and, without working the pattern, right now, let's go ahead and measure your hand or the person's hand that you need to know what size it is. Okay, so you want to take out your tape measure and just take that measurement, take the tape measure and go around your hand. And I'm just going to circle around the widest part of my hand. So the widest part is right here where this thumb is, and I just kind of tuck it in because I'll be slipping my hand in there, right? So let's put this tail around here. Circle it around. Okay. And then I can see where that 0 lines up. And it's about 9.5 inches. If you can see that, it's about 9.5 inches. 9.75 is actually the measured size for the large. And I'll show you that where it is on the pattern. So the youth size is 7.75, which is the small size. So this is a chic fingerless mitts pattern, and then this one is the Bumblebee Youth one. The small is 7.75, and then there's the 6.75 length versus the youth, which is 6.25. So the difference on the small, medium, large is 1. So it's 8.75 for medium and 9.75 for large. So on mine, I need the 9.75, and they're just seriously just an inch difference on the circumference around, and that's it. You'll be making 2 mitts, and the instructions I've actually gone over in the video completely how to make it on we actually did the small size, and you've got the cuff, you've got the cast on, you've got the cuff, the main zigzag pattern. Okay, so here's the cuff, here's the palm, which is the main zigzag pattern. And then we work the thumb, and then we work the mitt top, and then we work the cuff. So palm, thumb, mitt top, cuff, and then you bind off. So this part right here, mitt top, this is the place where it changes. So on the chic fingerless mitts, you've got all the directions in that video, so you can see that video. If you go over to the Bumblebee Youth fingerless mitts, if you go to the mitt top here, you actually just work the rounds 1 through 4, and then you only repeat rounds 1 through 2. So just rounds 1 through 4, and then do round 1 and 2, and then you move on to the cuff. That's it. Okay. The difference here is you work round on the other one, you're working rounds 1 through 4. And then you work it one more time. So you're working 8 rounds, and then you work rounds 1 through 2. That's really the main difference in the pattern. So you've got the different cast-ons for small, medium, and large, and the small and the youth size are the identical cast-on number. They're the same. It's just this part here. Let's go ahead and go over how to work a circular needle instead of double-pointed needles. So besides, of course, the double pointed needles, you have got a magic loop or magic circle technique. There's actually 2 different ways to use circular needles. So I'm going to show you this one first, and then there's another method which actually is even easier, using a second set of circular needles. So this one's really nice because, as you can see, I can hold my stitches on here, and then when I'm ready to not use them, I can just slide it to the back and throw this in my bag and continue on going with travel or whatnot. So that's really easy. So let's say you've got your knitting going on here. I'm just going to show you how this continues to work its way around, because clearly I can't work with it like this. It'll just stretch it out, and there's just not really a good way to do that. But what I can do is slide my needle back to where a good portion of my already previously done stitches stay on this cable, and then I kind of bend my cable and pull up the extra slack there, kind of through the stitches. And now I pull a few of these stitches that I just did up on the end of my needle. This will be my needle that I'm working towards. I'm putting all the stitches on this needle. And then the one on this left side here, I just will insert my needle and start working the stitches and whatever stitch pattern I am on. Gosh, I don't even know what I'm doing on the sample. So I would continue working like this, and then when I get around to where I've completed those stitches, I would end up kind of cinching this part area together and then making another little hole somewhere. So I would just kind of do this and pull more stitches through, and it's a little more fiddly, but it gets you to where you don't have to worry about dropping the stitches, and you don't have to worry about dropping any needles with the DP ends. Once you get good at the DP ends, there's no worries there. But a way that's actually, to me, I think is a little easier than trying to fiddle with feeding a cable through like that. Here is another method. So I'm going to go ahead and offload one of these needles onto a second circular here. So I'm just going to go ahead and feed these on through. You'll see what I mean in just a second. Now you would want to use 2 needles of the same type wood or metal or whatever you're using. I wouldn't use 2 different brands and stuff because they can actually change your gauge and it might not look as smooth and clean. Okay, so part of the stitches will be using one set of circulars and part of the stitches will be using another set. So I can actually work this set of stitches with these needles here and work this entire row across and then just slide it back to that next point and turn my work around and continue going. So let's see, I'm on this side here. This is my next stitch I've got to work. And I grab my needles, and I insert in, and I start working my stitch. I'm going to go across. And when I'm done, of course this is not the stitch pattern here, but you get the idea. I work whatever my stitch pattern is. Go across. Okay, a couple more stitches left. Okay, so now I've worked completely all of those stitches, and now I can slide that back, and I've done that that side. And then I would turn it over because now my working yarn is over here, and then I would start working with this set of needles, pull that on through, load them on, and start working these with the same needle that's on this side. So this part's attached here. Might look a little fiddly on camera, but when you pull these strands through, you can see how all my stitches are being held. Nothing is going to be falling off, and it's a pretty secure method, and you don't have to worry about pulling the stitches too tight. So there you have it, 2 different ways to use circular needles for knitting in the round on something small. I really hope that that video has helped you. If you would like to get free PDF patterns every time we come out with a video, be sure and click on the join button to join and become a VIP member. You also have a monthly live call with me, as well as quarterly giveaways from my stash. I pick winners every 3 months, as well as fun special badges and stuff when we go on live calls. You get special badges and emojis, and it's just a lot of fun. Also other posts and stuff, lots of perks. So be sure and click subscribe and hit that bell icon so you know every time I get a new video come out every Friday, and other bonus ones as well. I hope you have a great day, and happy knitting and crochet. Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.